hyperlipidemia. That's the topic of the day. It's equally known as high cholesterol or high lipids. It's about time that we talk about this medical condition. It affects nearly 29 million adult Americans. They have high total cholesterol, and 7% of our U.S. children and adolescents ages 6 to 19 have high total cholesterol. So why does this matter? I mean, I don't have symptoms. I can't feel anything going on with me. It matters because it is associated with a lot of chronic conditions such as heart disease, heart attacks. So we do need to be aware. We need to be informed so that when you know better, you do better, right? I'm going to dive into what cholesterol is all about, what are those risk factors, how do we diagnose, how do we treat, and then I'll end with dispelling some of the myths that are out there. Now, I'm Dr. Babs. Welcome back to another episode of Health Exchange Chatroom on Living at Your Finest with Dr. Babs. Now, before I dive in, I want to just remind you all, don't forget to subscribe, and better yet, hit that bell so that you do not miss out on any episode. I want to encourage you to share with your friends and neighbors, people that would benefit from all this information, and, leave a comment. Let me know how it has impacted your life. All right, so now to check into our chat room with our guest for the week. They're going to pick their brains. I'm going to pick their brains and see what they know about high cholesterol. So guess who jumped into our Health Exchange chat room? Yes, I spotted her and she's been so gracious. She's going to tell us what she knows about high cholesterol. Please welcome Buki Adenuba.
Thank you, Dr. Babs.
I really appreciate it. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Tell us what you know about high cholesterol. Are you familiar with the word high cholesterol or hyperlipidemia? Those are the other words that it comes in.
So for high cholesterol, I'm familiar with that. And that's the bad cholesterol. If I use that word, bad cholesterol.
Yes.
Because I know we have the good cholesterol and the bad one. So the high cholesterol is the bad one. And this can be hereditary. I'm not too sure, but people say so. And this can be linked to your diet, and this can be monitored, and it can be controlled.
Awesome. Well, you are definitely well informed. I got the right person into our chat room. Very good. So let me take you down another route. So now that we know we have bad and good, can you tell me a little bit about, are you familiar with what numbers we should be paying attention to and how is it checked? So how would you even know that your cholesterol is high? Do you have any idea?
So to be honest, I really don't know.
Okay.
Because the numbers, I don't understand the numbers. The LDL, I don't know what it means to be high or low. And I know people that have high cholesterol, they kind of keep the number and they know the number. And people like me that we don't have any cholesterol problems, I don't know. But I think I need to know. Just to know for my sake, I think we need to know.
Yes, and that's what I'm here for. I am going to share more light into what those specific numbers need to be so that we can all be informed and transform our lives, because prevention is better than cure, right? It's better that we know what numbers and how we can protect ourselves. All right. Now, do you know, how do we check it though? I mean, high cholesterol, most times you don't even have any symptoms, right? It's not like you have a toothache where your tooth is hurting you, or you have a belly ache. There's no symptoms until when it gets advanced. So how would you know if your cholesterol is high?
So I think when you go for lab work, when you go for your annual test, and those are the things your primary care doctor does every year.
Yes.
They check you do a blood work. And they test your labs. Let me try to be a little bit medical. They check your either CBC or something like that. So they get to know from these numbers, and when your results come back from the lab, the doctor will review the results with you and will let you know which ones are high, which ones are low, which ones are normal, and to pay attention. Sure.
Okay.
So your cholesterol is checked from lab work.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you said lab work because sometimes people think that you have to breathe and in the tubes check your cholesterol. Some people think it's a skin test. So I'm glad that you said blood work. Now, the last question I have to get you off the hot seat is when it comes to cholesterol, right? What are some things? Because I just spoke about prevention is better than cure. We know that medication can help, but what are some non-medical ways of reducing cholesterol?
So non-medical ways for me will be exercises.
Okay.
When you exercise and pay attention to your diet.
Okay.
And basically that's it. Exercise and diet. I think that will control it without medication.
Okay. All right. Very good. I think we've covered the basic questions that most people would like to know. The one additional question that I know a lot of people ask is, how does cholesterol bother me? I mean, what's the whole idea? Can I throw in that bonus question for you before I let you go?
Yes, and I have, yes. So repeat the question again.
So the question is, I've heard people ask, why do I need to care about my cholesterol? What's the big idea? So what? I have high cholesterol. Is that the end of the world? Why, if I asked you, why is cholesterol important? What does it do to your body? What kind of, complications arises from there? Then I'll let you off the hot seat.
Okay, so cholesterol can cause heart problems.
Okay.
There can be cardiac arrest could be caused by cholesterol because high cholesterol will lead to heart problem, and also your heart rate.
Okay.
So basically, you have to watch your cholesterol because of your heart rate and make sure that your heart is functioning right, and it can lead to cardiac arrests.
Okay. All
Arrest? I'm
right.
not sure. I think so.
Not bad, not bad. Well, you know what? You have done so well. I really appreciate you coming into the chat room to tell us what you know. Make sure you tune in for the full explanation of what high cholesterol is. Thanks again for participating.
You're welcome. I have a quick question for you, Dr. Babs.
Yes, yes.
So, as a Nigerian, there's this myth about eating yolks. Egg yolk increases cholesterol. And also people talking about palm oil.
Palm oil. Palm oil. Okay.
Cholesterol.
So those are definitely two questions that I'm going to make sure that I answer when I go into the big forum. Very, very important questions. I've had my doubts in the past, but I have more information and I'll be happy to share that at length when I dive into the different aspects of cholesterol. Thank you for asking those additional questions.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on your chat room.
Thank you for coming. Now, what is high cholesterol? So cholesterol is a wasky substance. It's a type of fat that your body makes. Yeah, your body makes cholesterol. And it also comes from what we eat. Yeah. When it comes to the cholesterol, there are two types. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the high cholesterol and the good high, so low or high. So LDL, which is low, or HDL, which is high. And another type of cholesterol is the triglycerides, which is the fat in the bloodstream. So let's talk a little bit about the high one. As the name already implies, high is just not good. It's not good cholesterol to be circulating in the bloodstream because when it clogs off the blood vessels, it becomes hollow. So instead of you having this patent, it's hollow. And that deposits fatty cells into the arteries and increases the risk of blockage. Now, when you have a low high cholesterol, that is not good either because the high cholesterol is actually supposed to help to cut back on the low cholesterol because that's the one that is not good. So we need to have a good balance, and I'm going to speak about what are the things that increase high and what are the things that increase the low. Now, some of the foods that have been shown to increase cholesterol are saturated fats, trans fats. All of these raise our total cholesterol levels. So things like cheese, egg yolk, fried food, processed food, ice cream, pastries, red meat. There are tons of these things that can increase our cholesterol. Symptoms and risk. So most people that have hyperlipidemia, which is high cholesterol, they don't know. They can't tell that they have stuff going on, right? It's not something you feel. It's just, unfortunately, when the heart attacks take place and then you check the cholesterol and you see that it's really high, or the triglycerides, which is the circulating fatty cells. So that's why it's very important that we check these numbers. All right, we need to check these numbers when we go to see our primary care provider, on an annual basis for physical. We need to make sure that we don't have a buildup, because if we have all this plaque build up, it causes blood clots, right? As you can imagine. And the blood clots, if it dislodges and goes to the heart, it will cause a heart attack. And if it dislodges and goes to the brain, that's how a stroke is formed. All right. Having high blood cholesterol raises the risk for heart disease, which is the leading cause of death, and for stroke, which is the fifth leading cause of death. So we need to know, we need to be informed. What are some of those risk factors, you might ask? It could be hereditary. Poor diet, poor nutrition, sedentary lifestyle is also one of it. One of the risk factors, if you're not moving around, that particularly affects your HDL, which is the good cholesterol. It's decreased whenever you exercise and you work out. So if you want one good reason for exercising is to increase your HDL. The more HDL you have, you're able to combat the bad cholesterol rather. Now, diagnosis. How is it diagnosed? Again, I mentioned your doctor. Your doctor can run the blood test, order the blood test to make sure that your numbers are within range. You want to make sure the best practice is that you're fasted, that at least 8 hours of not eating anything to get a real interpretation of your cholesterol numbers, particularly for the triglycerides, because that's an interpretation of how much fatty foods you've had the night before, the day before. Now, family history, I already said. Increased weight gain, you want to make sure if you've gained a lot of weight, just be honest. Tell the doctor you want to check your cholesterol. If there's a history of diabetes, hypertension, you need to know. Now, what are those numbers that we're looking at? LDL. LDL is a low density lipoprotein. That's what it means. That really needs to be the range. The best range is less than 100. When we go to the HDL, the best range really is between 40 and above. All right. Those numbers really help to combat heart disease. When we talk about total cholesterol, we don't want it to be higher than 200. And when we speak about the triglycerides, which is the fatty cells circulating, we don't want it higher than 150. So these numbers, know them, all right? When you know them, it empowers you to live a long life, because you know where to strike the balance. If you're not eating properly, you do need to make sure that you're eating properly. So what are some of those preventative measures? I always talk about prevention is better than cure. Medications we know can help the cholesterol to lower the plaque levels. But if we're talking about prevention better than cure, exercise. The recommendation is 150 minutes, 5 days a week, right? So you get 30 minutes, 5 days gives you 150. It boosts your HDL, gives you good cholesterol build, and it helps your bad cholesterol to be lowered in amount. So no matter how little, do some form of movement. What are some other things? Definitely eating healthy. When you eat healthy, you cut back on oily foods, fried foods. You cut back on just all these things that have pastries, the oils that are not good for us, the hydrogenated oils. We got to cut back on them. The American Heart Association recommends limiting the saturated fats to 5 to 6% of our daily calories and minimizing the amount of trans fat. I'm sure if you've read the labels, you see they'll say 0 trans fat. We need to be aware of this. Cutting back on our red meat, all right, and making sure that we eat healthier oils. Coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, those are cleaner, safer oils that do not cause plaquage in the blood vessels. Now, you heard my guest ask about palm oil. Yes, as a proud African, Nigerian to be precise, I know we take delight in our palm oil, but it is known to have more saturated fat. So you want to limit that. You want to cut back on that, because if you eat a lot of that, you're clogging up your arteries. So I personally have cut back. I use more of avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, and then I put a little daz because you like the color. but I'm not solely using a whole bunch of palm oil. All right. The other question was about egg yolks. Now, as long as you're eating within the moderation amount for eggs, it is fine. Now, if you have high cholesterol, depending on your numbers, you might want to cut back. Typically, having eggs because of the protein, it has lots of protein, it has lots of nutrients in it. It is still a good source. I've seen a lot of people will get egg without the yolk. It's a good yolk and a good cholesterol, so you have bad and good. So as long as you're not eating like 2 a day, so I usually average, if you have 1 a day, that's fine. About 5, it's okay. But depending on your numbers, if your numbers are super, super high, then you might want to cut back that average number. So it's really figuring out where you are and figuring out what adjustments you can make. But again, generally, eggs are good for us. All right? Now, we want to make sure that we're making those lifestyle changes, healthy diet, healthy weight. All of that will help to reduce our cholesterol levels. We want to make sure also that we have high fiber rich foods such as oatmeal, apples, banana, kidney beans. All of that helps to reduce our cholesterol. We want to eat fish twice a week. I love fish, salmon particularly. Avoid sugary drinks and added sugar. All of these definitely help to cut back on our cholesterol. So a lot of information shared today. I am really excited that we have an opportunity to talk about cholesterol and really what it does to our bodies, because we've been informed now, right? So the next step is to transform our life with the different options of being healthier and avoiding the medications. There are times when medications will be needed. The beauty of, well, should I say, the good side is that it's treatable, right? Changing your lifestyle, taking the medications if you really need to, based on the recommendations of your doctor, you can very quickly get off of the medications, all right? So other things, smoking, unfortunately, increases the risk for coronary artery disease, in the presence of smoking and high cholesterol, it increases your risk even much, much higher. Anybody that drinks a lot of alcohol, that also affects your cholesterol level directly or indirectly. So these are all the things that we need to be very mindful of. Now, I want to close by saying that we've been informed, we need to be transformed, and we can triumph as living at our finest champions, because once we know better, we got to do better. Let me know which one of these that you're going to apply in your life. I know that this week I'm going to try and stay off fast foods. I try my best not to eat, fries. If at all, I do the Chick-fil-A fries and I do it once a month, but I'm going to even do better. I'm going to cut that out and just really try and do more bake, boiled, grill, and season my food in such a way that I enjoy, and I just enjoy the taste of it. So with cayenne pepper, turmeric, black pepper, all of those are great seasoning that will make my food palatable, and I don't feel the need that I need to fry my food. So what about you? What are you going to do? I want to hear. Please share in the comments. Share with your friends and family. We're healthier together and stronger together when we share with one another. So until next episode, remember, you need to live at your finest health and personal development because you deserve it. And you most certainly can achieve it. So have a fabulous week. Enjoy, be blessed, and take care.